Hi everyone, welcome to UKIYN EcoPeace Cafe. We are hosting series of webinars on different topics from climate change to peace building. So I'm Greshma, I'm from India. I'm the founder of EcoPeace Team Cafe. So today we are hosting an intergenerational dialogue, which is very interesting for all of us. We are going to talk about climate justice for younger generation. So before moving to the topic and diving deeper into the topic, let's see what the young people around the world would like to share. And it's a video prepared by UNICEF.
I was visiting family back in Northern California when the Paradise Fire broke out. I had to roll up my towels, put them under windows and doors, since the smoke was seeping into my home.
We heard voices screaming outside. We just stand outside praying for the fire not to reach our homes.
Many people died. Our farms were destroyed. Our crops were washed away.
I really saw like flooding and ice caps melting.
The summers are really, really hot. The snow melts immediately. In the rainy seasons, when it should rain, it doesn't rain. And sometimes it's raining that much that the river comes up to danger mark.
Every time we have these heavy rains, our school closes.
The economy is really impacted.
All the memories that were made in that place, like the places where we used to have fun and enjoy, are slowly disappearing.
I was on school and then I heard about climate change.
I saw many people talking about it on social media.
I started to see how communities were being impacted all around the world. And then I was asking myself, like, what was happening?
I just wanted to contribute and help out.
Who inspired me was Greta Thunberg. Greta and her movement.
She's just straight to the point and she's not afraid to speak up for what she believes.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I'm 16 years old and I'm a climate activist from Sweden. I learned more and more about how serious the situation was. I couldn't understand why everyone else was just continuing like before, not doing anything, not caring about this.
We deserve a safe future. And we demand a safe future. Is that really too much to ask?
The guys look at us like us kids, and they don't really take us seriously.
Some people, they don't even think about it.
They're saying, oh, you're too young for this, you're not supposed to be doing this.
They don't really understand the climate crisis, so they need to know the climate science. What keeps me going despite the challenges is that I'm in solidarity with so many activists all around the world, all the other activists who are fighting every day. I think they inspire me a lot.
I want other people not to think of how young are they or how small are they.
We can do something about this if we really want to make a change. It's about like every person individually. Our future, the kids' future will be affected.
It's happening right now. We're already late on our schedule.
We live in the same planet.
We have to come together. It's not an option.
As the climate crisis continues to get more urgent, we want you to all take action as well and make your voices heard too. I don't want to just stand aside and watch. I want to participate. I want to push as hard as I can in the right direction. And I've just decided to do everything I can.
Yes, the young leaders all around the world are asking for climate actions and climate justice. So we don't have any more time to wait and see. So it's the time to act. That's why we decided to talk about climate justice for younger generation. And it's an intergenerational dialogue. So we acknowledge the importance of every individual, not just young people. We need our elders to help us to take this action forward. So once again, welcome all of you to this UKIYN EcoPeace Cafe intergenerational dialogue. So we have amazing guest speakers here. So before that, I also wanted to mention the role of young people here. So we have like lots of young people who are doing amazing job around the world, and especially from the beginning of UKIYN EcoPeace Cafe, we are having different sessions with young people. And especially we started with climate change and coming generation. That session was led by Ishida. She's based in India and she's working 24/7 for bringing sustainability and climate actions. And we have like many young people like Mayokun from Nigeria. He is working for waste management and protecting our earth. And we are also having like different speakers who talk about equality and equity and mentioning about gender equality. So climate justice is not just an environmental issue, it's an issue of equity and equality. We know that when uh, when we are having a crisis, the mostly affected people are the most vulnerable groups like women and children, and also the least economic uh, situations of the countries also. Like we mentioned, like developing countries and underdeveloped countries are going to affect more because of the climate change. So we have to address all those issues and we have to acknowledge the individual contributions as well as the contribution of all communities, from governmental organizations to not governmental organizations. So once again, we have one more video, like we have to showcase how young people act and their initiatives. So after watching that video, we will listen our guest speakers and we will dive more deep into their work and how they are acting for climate justice and how their organizations are working. And then we will discuss about the policy and recommendations, and then we have an opportunity for question and answer session.
My dream come true, seeing so many young people in the streets demanding everything is not only inspirational and amazing, but it literally is, at least for me, a dream come true. I knew that it was my duty to work on this for the rest of my life until we get this fight done. And I think it's similar to a lot of young people, in that they feel like this is a moral calling for them in a sense.
I started 5 years ago because I saw in my city of Los Angeles, we were being affected by air pollution, and learning about that, seeing how that affects our health and how students are getting asthma, how they're getting heart palpitations, and how they're getting other heart issues. It was stemming from those, from the climate crisis.
Back in 2017, I had a dream of young people mobilizing for climate. And I had this vision, especially after the disasters of Hurricane Maria, the disasters of the wildfires, especially the wildfire smog from Canada that blew over my city of Seattle and made it very hard to breathe and made the city just coated in this almost apocalyptic mist. We formed this organization called 0 Hour, and over the course of a year, we built up the momentum, we built up the necessary political atmosphere in order to have the youth climate marches on July 21st of 2018 and in 25 cities around the world. And then a month later, Greta Thunberg started her school strike for climate, and the school strike for climate movement came off the back of that. I think that I am super lucky in that I have the ability to work full-time on climate. And it's really important to remember that for a lot of people, they can't strike, they can't just leave work or leave school because they would face a significant fear of economic and political backlash. We're fighting in the climate movement, and we're building the bridge between protest, organizing, and electoral politics. And we're fighting for a Green New Deal because we know that that's going to bring in a new era in our society of justice and of equity and climate.
Education is very important in this specific time because of the climate crisis, and education on the climate crisis needs to be implemented in formal education. The turning point that helped me to define myself as a climate leader was at the People's Climate March, where I saw a vast amount of people turn out for issues that intersect with climate change. It's really helped me to boil the climate crisis down as a fight for what we love and want to protect.
Young people, frontline communities, indigenous communities are fighting on the front lines every single day on these issues. To think that we as young people have to keep fighting to have a livable future or to even have a future is wrong. And I think politicians need to act now because we don't have time left.
I definitely feel a sense of empowerment just from the community within the organization and the movement at large. It's quite frustrating and fearful to think about these things every day and to be doing this work. But at the same time, so much of the work is just about channeling these emotions we feel. And when we have big wins like we have had just in the past year, it's extremely just empowering to know that the work that we're doing is actually paying off. Well, I always describe the movement as an ecosystem. In the forest, the birds, the worms, the trees, they all serve their own unique purpose. They work together and they can't replace each other, but they work in harmony with each other. And so I would say find what you're already good at. If you're really good at technology or computer programming, if you're really good at art or music or dance, if you're really good at reading and writing, find what it is that you are good at and apply that skill to the movement, because we need artists in this movement. We need people who know about technology in this movement. We need organizers, we need writers, we need all of the different talents in the movement. So I'd say find what you already do, what you're already good at, and apply that into an organizational space.
Was just for young people, but we have lots of young people are working tirelessly for climate action and bringing climate justice to this world. And we need to work more and we need to be more hopeful. And we know our world is currently witnessing war, and that also raised to more environmental issues and creating more worse situation. So let's do our work and let's learn more. So this is the time for learning and connecting. So I would like to introduce our guest speakers here. So we have Lauren Vanham. She's the URI United Religions Initiative Climate Action Coordinator. So welcome, Lauren. And we have Raoman Smita. She's joining us from Bangladesh. She's the founder and president of Global Law Thinker Society. And we have Christian K. Lupemba. He's from DR Congo and he's with Religion for Peace Youth Network. So welcome all of you, and we would like to hear and learn from you about your organizations and how they are working. So first, let's hear from Lauren. She's an ordained interfaith minister, has served as a chaplain in the healthcare, academic, and in the corporate world. And she's also interested and working for climate action and faith. So we are really want to hear from you how URI works for climate action and how we ensure climate justice for our generations through the work of cooperation circles. So Lauren, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Grashma. Wonderful to be with you all today. The United Religions Initiative is an organization that does work as an interfaith organizing network. There are what we call cooperation circles all around the world, about 1,100 of them, a little more than that. And the premise of the cooperation circle is that people are coming together across different beliefs, faith traditions, indigenous expressions, and they are working together to create more peace, to reduce violence, and certainly to restore our earth. We recently, in August, had our own conversation, sort of like the Religions for Peace conversation today, where intergenerational participants were talking about what our current moment means for future generations, and very specifically looking for opportunities, because we know that there are problems, right? But instead of focusing on what isn't working well, what are the ways that intergenerationally we can uplift and work together in the spaces where there is possibility and promise? So there were just a few things that came out of that conversation that I was looking back at my notes and thinking, oh, I want to share this here because these are useful, perhaps, as all of us in the places where we live are trying to encourage more intergenerational practice. So to begin, and some of these may feel obvious, climate change is not one generation's problem, right? So there are adults who have been on this planet longer and in some ways are more responsible for what has happened, but it is every generation's invitation to be a part of a solution. And so it isn't helpful, say, for an older generation to look to the young ones and say, well, this is your responsibility now. No, it doesn't work like that. So that I want to reiterate that every generation has insights and perspectives to share. And so we all are welcome and encouraged to be in this conversation. We especially are aware that extreme weather and economic disruption is going to continue. And because of that, it's even more important for us to think about alternative practices and adaptive practices. We talk at URI quite a bit about how do we become more resilient in light of the storms and economic insecurity that will continue. So we want to encourage that. And then there's also the really important thing when we're working globally about different contexts and experiences. And so just in the same way that when intergenerations come together, the older generations and the younger generations are bringing emerging and changing perspectives, that's also true, of course, when we're working across cultures and across ecosystems. So what is working really well in a section of the United States that is a desert is probably not going to work the same in a rainforest area in Colombia, right? So we still want to be sharing our ideas and talking about best practices. And then the last offering before I share some slides is around what some of the young voices were saying in the UNICEF video, where they were really talking about their anxiety levels and how scary this is. And that's another place where I think intergenerationally we hold, there's so much promise in our working together, because the older voices need to be there when the young ones are feeling afraid and worried. That's our job. So it feels really, really important that eco-anxiety doesn't get swept under the rug and become an even greater mental health crisis, but that instead we're able to talk about it. We talk about our grief, we talk about our anxiety, and then we look for ways to take care of each other with love and care. So those are just some overarching ideas. And I'm going to share a few slides with you now to share with you more specifically about some of the things that are happening across the URI network. When Greshma and I spoke about our time together today, she was remembering a slide that I have used at other URI conversations. And I won't go into great detail with this table now, but just very specifically, the dark green column feels important to remember. Eco means home. The Greek word oikos, right? Eco means home. And so in each one of the columns on this table, we see the word relationship. How are we relating to our home? Ecology is how we are relating to all of the relationships in the system. And in economy, it's how we organize our relationships in our home. So economy has never, ever meant money or gross domestic product. Economy means managing our home, which can be measured in lots of ways. It can be measured in the amount of trees. It can be measured in the amount of love. So that just feels really important for us as we all start to imagine the economic models that will truly serve humans and our other relatives, the bird relatives, the tree relatives, the river. We want to be able to to manage all of that in a really thoughtful way going forward. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this is sort of a place to maybe do a self-assessment. Where might you put yourself on this axis? Because this is a way that we can start to see one of the voices in the second video. She was talking about how each of us has a gift, each of us has a talent in this movement, and we should do the thing that really lights us up and gets us excited. So if down here, if you feel like you are more drawn to the infrastructure, which I think would also include some of the tech work that's happening, then you know that you're in the lower section of the axis. And if you are more fed by some of the ecology in the outdoor nature system around you, the rights of nature, if you will, then you would be in this upper axis. And then you could also start thinking more about over here, this might be your local community. And over here, it could be some of the more external community. But the point in here is that all of it is needed. It's just really useful to find out what makes you come alive so that you can be working in that space. When we're talking about a just ecology and a just economy, because we want both, we're talking about meeting the needs of all beings within the means of the living planet. This comes from donut economics. You might be familiar with Kate Raworth's economic model. She's sharing it with politicians and government leaders around the world, and there's some helpful information in there. But more specifically right now, with respect to what some of the URI cooperation circles are doing, we're looking quite a bit at ways that we can create more adaptation and more resilience, because we know that things are going to become severe in our climate disruption. And we want to try to rise to that occasion with love and care and creativity, so that we have alternative systems in place as the current systems are not working very well. So here are just a few examples of cooperation circles who are working in these different quadrants of resilience. In the cultural adaptation space, there are cooperation circles who are doing a lot of work with our Indigenous members and Indigenous groups around the world who we know are very good at caring for the ecosystem in a reciprocal way. We have everything to learn from people who have lived very close to the earth for a long, long time. Those of us who live in the cities have forgotten a lot of what we need to know. And so we look to our Indigenous elders and mentors in this way. And so there are many opportunities for us to be thinking about bringing back these Indigenous practices, and that is its own version of a new economic model. And then this last point down here too, right? Lots of infrastructural opportunities as we bring more nature back into the urban environment, or we create more ways for people to access nature by thinking carefully about things that humans need, parks, bike paths that support birds, critters, and humans. We also, in the economic adaptation space and the social adaptation space, we have many cooperation circles who are supporting local agriculture, especially women farmers, because of gender equity and the importance of how many women around the world are feeding their families. So lots of opportunities for new ways of agriculture, lots of opportunities for micro energy grids and clean energy in places that don't have it. Greshma spoke about the folks in Nigeria who are doing interesting work with recycled material and cleaning up our planet, but then repurposing those materials. So these are all examples of other things that cooperation circles are doing. And then in a final example of some resilience, the things that maybe come to mind more readily for us: restoring the rights of nature, encouraging biodiversity, giving the rivers rights, ordaining the trees, looking for agroforestry methods and regenerative agriculture methods so that we are doing the things that we need as humans to survive, but doing it in a way that makes the land and the water much more resilient in the face of climate disasters. In the community resilience space, this is a lot about what I was saying before with helping those who are feeling quite anxious in this moment, helping all of us become more eco-literate, looking for nature-based solutions in the countries where divestment is an option, where there's lots of money and lots of harm happening, like in my country, for example, in the United States. We have so much work to do in the investment and divestment campaigns, and that's a place where we can take a lot of action. So the last thing here is sort of a theory of change, if you will. The URI purpose statement is that we promote enduring daily interfaith cooperation, we end religiously motivated violence, and we create cultures of peace, justice, and healing for Earth and all living beings. And I really believe that that becomes possible because of the work that we're doing together, intergenerationally. When we restore Earth, we restore people. When we restore people, we restore Earth. So peace building and restoring Earth are absolutely interlocked. We do this work together, and you all already know this. So I will turn things back to Greshma and look forward to hearing from other presenters about some of the other great ideas that are happening. Thanks for listening.
Always we know like EcoPeace Cafe is also one of the URICC. So we all know like how important indigenous voices and how important our local actions are. So thanks for sharing that work and voicing for the indigenous communities, as they are the one who have all the treasures of knowledge, wisdom, to overcome all these current challenges. And they are one of the groups who are witnessing lots of issues. So thanks for bringing up, and thanks for sharing all the good examples of CCs. So yeah, from URI, we can go to Bangladesh and listen to Raoman Smita and her work with Global Law Thinker Society. And she's a global leader and influencer with a passion for social betterment, environmental restoration, and youth development. She's the founder and president of Global Law Thinker Society, and she's also the president of Bangladesh chapter for World Book of Records, UK, and she's also a practicing lawyer and CEO of the Law Thinkers Law Firm. So welcome, Raoman Smita, and we are eagerly waiting to listen you and learn from you.
Thank you so much, Greshma, and peace be upon you all. I really want to thank Peace Cafe, the initiative, and URI who gave me this great space and a great community that align with my intention and vision to save this earth and save our country and our people. Thank you so much. Thank you again. So I have made a short presentation on my topic today. It's about conservation of river. So today my topic is river conservation for a better future and empowering youth to protect our river. And I'm Raoman Smita. You already know all the activities I'm doing. It's leading to the love for the environment, for the people. So whatever I'm doing, it's for the benefit of our earth. And here goes the rivers. We all know that rivers, how much we love rivers, and what are the roles of rivers in different ways. But first thing, if we see here is that if we ask that what is the role of rivers, if we ask any children or young people, they will say they want to have fun in the river. But I really wish we could do that. We could do that. But if we look into our rivers and the real scenario, it's really completely different. And the recreation, what we are seeking now from our rivers, they're almost dying. And we need to really work to save our rivers now. So let's see that what are the main roles of the rivers that really important in our life for our generation and for our future generation. The first thing we all know, I mean, whatever I'm sharing, we all know, I'm just reminding you again the importance of rivers and why we should come forward and take action immediately. So the role of river, first, if we say that is water supply, the primary source of fresh water we get from our river. And even though we live in the city people, they use the tap water or the fresh water or filters. But most of the people in rural area, you will see that there is still drinking water from the river. Their main source of drinking water is river. Our food, the agriculture, that are also dependent on river. Most of the industries or livelihoods are going nearby the rivers. Then the food source. Here I have mentioned only few things, that fishing, like fishing is the big source, especially in Bangladesh. I am from Bangladesh, and also the Asian country. We see that fish is the very good source for our food. And then there are water-based lands that we can find in the rivers, and animals and forests, those are also dependent on our rivers. Then biodiversity, if we look into, so the diverse habitats that actually depend on the rivers. Many plants, many species, underwater species, those are completely dependent on the river. So if we cannot protect our river from pollution, you can imagine that what we are losing. And the result we are already seeing now. Then the flood control. You can see that climate change that made the whole world so terrible. We can see it practically. We do not need to mention it now. We are observing it now. But we have this great resource given by the Almighty, that we have these rivers. If we could maintain it properly, it could control the flood, overflow of heavy rainfall or snow melting that is we are facing at the moment. We could at least we could save from this kind of calamity, disastrous issues, if we could save our rivers. Then the power source. Nowadays, this is a very important thing has happened, especially for the climate change. You see that the global warming is happening, and we are using the fossil fuel, and how we are destroying our Mother Earth. But these rivers could be the main source of our power. We do not need to just depend on the fossil fuels. We are even turning into the green fuels, that is like solar power, windmill, and hydro power system through the our river. It is really a great source for our green power we can use. So these were the main points regarding the roles of rivers. But let's see now what is happening in reality, the rivers. These are the very pictures I have collected when I was visiting the rivers in Bangladesh. The major threats I have already written here. It is pollution, habitat destruction, climate change, illegal occupation. These are the major threats rivers are facing. And you can see the picture. The first picture here I shared, the water is black. Can you imagine? I mean, can this be water? And do you believe that any kind of species underwater can live? And you can imagine some people who are living nearby the rivers or the river banks. They're drinking this water. They're bound to drink it because they do not have any source of fresh water. So what they will do, they're drinking it. Not only the black water, if you will see that because of the industries, we have the red, blue, what color we are getting it. And those colors are not like the rainbow we can have fun of or enjoy. Rather, it's the threatening for our health and the issues we can see now, our health issues that in each family will find 2, 3, 4 people in the families are sick. They're sick from food, they're sick from water, they're sick some way. And also these are the main reason that our rivers, the source of our water for food, agriculture, is now polluted. So what will happen? Definitely we are going to lose our health, and we cannot actually live. I mean, human not only be threatened, but also all kind of habitats are threatened now. You can also see the climate change issues that flooded, and also there is the illegal occupation. The people are standing nearby the river bank. This is like a flowing river. It's like a flowing river in Bangladesh. The law in the court of Supreme Court, they ordered that river has the life. I mean, it is considered as a human being. We must have to give it the right to flow the way it flew through the way. So we cannot just stop it. It's a flowing river or just occupy it. But in Bangladesh, if I share the scenario, even the cross border, like in India and Bangladesh, we are connected through many rivers. But what is happening? We are flooded by this illegal occupation or some kind of steps we have taken. We can see the recent flood in India. I think Greshma knows about it, right, Greshma? Like in India, what happened in there, it's terrible. I have also seen that many of my friends, they called me, texted me that they just faced the terrible scenario that they just came from the death. It's like that. So sudden flooding is happening. But we could save our rivers, not only just talking about it, or just organizing summits, assemblies, and big talk. These are not going to work anymore. Now we are in a very serious situation, and young people, they should come forward because they are the main victims, because their future is in danger now. And how youth can actually play their role. I have just pointed out few things, but there are many ideas. New generation, they have many resources. They can come forward and take action immediately. I have shared one of my picture. You can see that this picture I took this river called Turag. And I was visiting that day like almost 4 rivers. And all the rivers were polluted. All the rivers were illegally occupied. The water color and also the people who are living there are suffering health issues. So you can see that how is the situation, how worst it is. And I believe that youth role can be like they can educate themselves regarding environmental issues. It's not that we have to come forward or the seniors have to come forward to aware them. Rather, they have the resources, like they have the online, everywhere they're seeing, and the climate issues, they can see it, feel it now. So they should study on environmental issues. They can join organizations. They can do the volunteerism. They can support their local organizations who are working on conservation of the environment or the rivers. There are a lot of things they can do. They also can just alone stand there and just take a poster and protest against this kind of issues happening around. They can raise their voice, use their voice. They can do the cleanups. They can do the awareness campaign, do the advocacy. They even can stop using the plastic. The one time using plastic, they can use eco-friendly products. These small steps can really save this kind of pollution. So the future of our rivers, you can see the picture here. What is the picture is now, it is like polluted river. the rivers are dying, they cannot breathe. If rivers die, we die. It's a simple equation. And here another picture, the future, the vision, what we want. That is a beautiful flowing river, transparent water. We can just have that recreation I showed you in my past slide, that you can go out there with your pet, with your family, or alone, just paddling your boat and drink the water from this river. So here, a little task I have brought for all who are listening now or will be listening later. This will help them to gain some knowledge and also can inspire them to work for their future. So here you can do some research. You can share with your friends. You can take small actions. Just find out what we should stop, what we should reduce, what we should increase. I'm just leaving it on you. If you want to share your task with me, here is my contact. You can contact me anytime. Here is my WhatsApp number, my email ID, my Facebook and Instagram, anywhere you can find me, just search my name. So our world, our responsibility, together build better world. Thank you, Greshma, EcoPeace Cafe, all the speakers here, all the participants, and special thanks to URI, my global family. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Raoman. And as always, it's so informative and talking about rivers, it's really important. We need to talk about rivers, and all the life forms that depends on rivers. And especially one of our session was on protecting rivers as a ecosystem restoring process. So in that presentation also we mentioned like how UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres mentioned about water. It's a lifeline of human life, lifeblood of human life. So thank you so much for sharing the importance of rivers and mentioning about the floods happening in Asia. It's really worse, and when we go for sleep, it's okay, but in the morning when we open our doors, then it's flooded. So that's what happening these days, like the heavy rains in the night just making it's flooding again in the morning. So thanks for mentioning that. And now we are moving to Christian. Christian Lupemba is an engaged and dynamic mathematics teacher committed to promoting community well-being. And since 2016, he serves as a member of the Office of External Affairs of Baha'i Community in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the chairperson of the DRC Interfaith Youth Network of Religion for Peace. He is also a member of the African Interfaith Youth Network and the International Youth Committee of Religions for Peace. So welcome, Christian, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And I hope you will mention the Manresa Pact also. So I met Christian in Spain during the Manresa Pact, and I'm super inspired by the young people of Religion for Peace.
Thank you very much, Greshma, for this opportunity. Yes, it's a big pleasure for me to have this occasion to share with the participants on environmental justice, especially for younger generation. I would like also to thank the two panelists who spoke before me, because they have helped me to skip the first part of my speech. So it will not be necessary for me to repeat again what they have shared, but from what they have shared, I will just mention two things. Lauren talked about this prefix eco that we find in words like ecology, ecosystem, and economy, which means home. And another important thing mentioned by Raoman is that if rivers die, we die. So from these two elements, I would like to help us to see some connection between what we do locally and the consequence they can have globally. So this interdependence is very important for us to be aware of, because it will help us to see and to reflect on how we can act, on how we can behave for the future of our environment. So coming back to eco home, this planet also is a home. This planet, our planet, is our global homeland. From a perspective wide enough to encompass the planet in its entirety, humanity can be seen in no other light than as one people living in one global homeland. Consciousness of this oneness, expressed through relationships of justice, constitutes the only foundation on which sustainable societies can be raised. Every people in its own way celebrates the ever-abundant beauty and grandeur of nature. The traditions of every culture pay homage to that priceless heritage that sustains not only the physical needs of bodies, but also the transcendent qualities of the spirit. The task of building a sustainable and flourishing world holds the promise of providing a point of unity, not only in shared endeavor, but in joyful celebration as well. I'm sorry, I had an issue with my internet connection. So the connection is not stable, I'm sorry. So let me finish quickly my speech. So I was talking about the importance of unity, and also the importance of justice. So justice is central to the conception of oneness. So we can see that widespread suffering has resulted from humanity's extractive relationship with the natural world, that a selected few benefit from excessive use of the earth's.
I think we lost him again. Okay, maybe we can move forward, and we can open the floor for more questions. And also, if you have any questions, please feel free to share on the chat, and also feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions. And we have like amazing speakers who are working hard on climate actions and for the climate justice. So so maybe we can start with this, like what are the challenges we are facing right now to achieve climate justice? So I know like it's plenty of challenges, but what are the challenges you are facing from your capacity? If Lauren is speaking, like how you face the challenges as a capacity of a climate action coordinator in achieving climate justice.
I do think that the importance of local and global is highly relevant right now. So it is very important that there are global conversations about reducing carbon emissions and holding polluters accountable, as it were. I also think that locally, there is so much work all of us can be doing to restore the ecosystems that are looking to be healed and mended. And we know that when we are doing that work together, that we are also mending and healing our communities. So I think, both activities are needed. We need the overarching government work, so petitioning, marching, getting the right people elected into office, all of that, but also on the ground, really doing the healing restoration work that we are able to do. And in that way, if I were going to use religious language, I would say then we are all being both mystics and prophets. And I think that that's really important for us in these times.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Lauren, for sharing that, and also emphasize on the importance of doing the top level work and also ensuring that we are doing our steps at the grassroots level also. Like that's what URI always promote. And I would like to know, Raoman, like as you are a practicing lawyer and focusing on environmental rights, how do you see these challenges? Maybe it's like your everyday life is facing like lots of challenges, like, so please share.
Yeah, it's really very frustrating when we are working as an environment activist. But what I am trying to do to focus in the result-based action. At the moment, I'm working for one river that I'm representing, collecting data and doing the research with my team, and we have planned to file a case before the court. That is the one part I am trying to do. We are also doing movements and many activities. We are going to school, college, and universities to create the awareness among the students, teachers, and even the parents. That is what we are doing. And then we are also organizing assembly, climate justice assembly. So along with the government people, so that in the policy making, we can bring the discussion on board and create a bridge between seniors and the young generation. That is what we are also working on. And also to combat the climate change, we have taken many initiatives. One of them is Gen for Trees, that is Generation for Trees. We have targeted to plant 10 million 10 million trees all around the world, and in Bangladesh as well. We also have developed this connectivity with individuals and organizations. We are collaborating, partnering for this tree plantation project. Especially we are planting near the coast area so that we can protect the climate issues at the moment we are facing, like the tornado, or even today we face this tornado, and people are like really in a risky position. They're displacing. Those are the issues they're facing. And there is another initiative, a financial initiative we have actually taken so that we can empower the young generation. That is Eco Cash Global Trade Hub. So we are actually creating ecopreneurs. They can come forward and bring some ideas so that those can help them to build their business as well as support the environment. So these are the things actually. I do not want to just talk about the challenges. I want to talk about the solutions, because challenges we all know actually. But the solutions, if we can share more solutions, then people will know that what to do and how to do and who to collaborate. And the best part I found to face these challenges is collaboration and partnership. Like a single organization, a single person, they cannot impact that way. But like with URI, we have partnered, our organization GLTS, we are partnering with many other organizations. We are even supporting young people to develop their organization. We are trying to help them in capacity building. These are the things we are doing. In particular, in Bangladesh, if I tell, Bangladesh is really having the issue related the power, like the fossil fuel, use of fossil fuel, like our mangrove forest. It's now really in danger because of the coal plants and some other. Though Bangladesh is taking good shifting for the green energy, so that is also a good part, that the government is also taking some initiative and thinking about it for the green shifting. So these are the all things so far I have observed and I'm working on. And also I invite anyone who can guide us, mentor us, or if we can collaborate together for combating this situation is always welcome. Thank you, Grishma.
Thanks, Raoman, for sharing the solutions also. Like, we all are like super fan of a global law thinker society, like how you come up with new campaigns and new idea, and how you say like
the guardian of the earth.
So thank you so much for all the innovative ways you find for the climate justice and bringing climate actions and bringing young people together. So thank you for sharing your work with us. And
Grishma, I want to add one thing I actually forgot to add up. That is the ecocide law. Ecocide law is, if we can really work on it and establish the law, that can really bring the justice for the environment. So I think if we all together can really work on it and really can bring this into the policy, into the law, it's not just the environmental law, but to ensure the use of the resources of the environment. So ecocide law, the term all can check on Google, and I will also invite URI to work on this particular area. That would be really great.
Yeah, sure. We can work together on that and learn more and having more discussions around that. So thank you so much for mentioning ecocide. And I'm like, whenever you join your environmental network, I'm seeing like how you promote all this work. So thank you so much. And Christian is back. Christian, we are discussing about the challenges in achieving climate justice. So is it possible for you to unmute and talk? And also, we really wanted to hear your thoughts for the first session.
So I would just like to conclude. I had many ideas to share, but unfortunately, it will not be possible because of the situation of the connection. So in a few words, I may say that environmental justice demands coherence between words and deeds. So what we say and what we do. So beyond establishing new bodies or concluding new agreements, therefore, the international community must make the fulfillment of promises already made a keystone of the future efforts. So we need to be very, very clear about it, because environmental justice should go above the fact of these negotiations that we have, or these the kind of things are doing nowadays. So, for example, the benefit of the human civilization, so the benefits of what we do, must be distributed with equity. And for example, the responsibility to undertake necessary transition should be apportioned in light of actors' historic contribution to the present climate crisis. But there is one thing which is important, that the environmental justice at the level of outcome is established only through the operation of environmental justice at the level of process. at the individual level, for example, environmental justice calls for a fair-mindedness in one's judgments and equity in one's treatment of others. At the group level, it is the practical expression of awareness that the interests of the individual and those of society are inextricably linked. It also requires standards of truth-seeking far beyond the patterns of negotiation and compromise that tend to characterize the present-day relations. So we need also to build trust, because now people don't trust the elected authorities, the news in the media, the finding of sciences, even the commitment made by the world leaders, because there is this difference, this gap between words and deed. So to conclude, I may say that environmental justice for younger generation must go far beyond just a list of things that we have to do, of the expression of the wish of what we want. It is connected mostly with what is the future of the world that we want to give in the hands of the new generations. What is the future of the environment? What is the future of the society that can fairly connect different people around the world and help them to live in harmony with the environment? According to the challenges, I may point some. I think the greatest challenge is to build the capacity of the different protagonists in the environmental protection. And building the capacity of these protagonists, according to me, it has to happen at 3 levels. The first level, I may say, at the individual level. I have said it previously. But building the capacity of individual implies developing range of Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. So I was saying that building the capacity of individual implies developing a range of interrelated capacities. I mean, scientific, technical, social, moral, and spiritual. So individual must be endowed with an understanding of concepts, of knowledge, and the knowledge of facts, but also the mastery of method, as well as the skills, attitude, and qualities required to establish a more healthy and sustainable patterns on individual and collective life. The second level is the community level. At the community level, we need to build capacity by enriching our and shaping our culture. On the community rests the challenge of creating a space in which individuals will blend together, in which powers are multiplied and manifest themselves in collective effort, in which higher expression of the human spirit are demonstrated in ways of arranging efforts of society, but a new way of doing all that. we need also to build the capacity of different structures in the society. So I may call them institutions. We need also to rethink the institutions. So institutions must be endowed with capacity to be able to channel through, to be able to serve as the channel through which the talents and the energies of individuals and of groups of individuals can be expressed in service to common good. So I think that is the challenge that we have in what we are doing as work. So we, as I said, we need to build trust between individuals, communities, and institutions so that all of them can work for the common good.
Thanks, Christine. And also when we reflect on the role of young people and working with them, so we still need to do more on the like policy level. And how do you see that how can we work for the young people at the policy making or including the policy like policy makers, maybe like a dialogue with or for young people with the policy makers? What's your thought on that? Like, if there is any possibility of your involvement of URI in like a bridging a path for that? So what's your thought, Lauren?
I love this prompt because I feel like it's a space where URI might be able to do some more, and we haven't been thinking as creatively as we perhaps could. Some of you might be familiar with the organization Our Children's Trust. They began in the United States, but the court cases are happening all over the world now, and there was reference to them in one of the videos. So with all of the wins that these young plaintiffs, when I say young, I mean people who are 35 and under, but some of them are 12, right? And they are truly, truly creating cases that are going to their governments, going to parliament, going to Congress. So in the countries that are governed in a way that we can petition our leaders to create laws to protect nature, this is very, very good work. And I think that we need to continue to replicate these ideas in the countries where we can. I know that it isn't always a slam dunk. One example of another way to start really experimenting with this, when I was visiting some cooperation circles in Malawi this past summer, there is a CC there that takes place in a middle school, high school, and all of the students have formed a youth parliament, and they are writing bills for the earth. So even though they may not actually take those bills to the Malawi government, they are practicing now in their high school how they would do this. And I think that there is great value in learning how the political systems work and how they can start to use their voice as soon as possible. So I'm taking notes, and I will, by all means, share this with some of the other regional coordinators at URI to see how we could grow this movement.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. And hope, yeah, like I'm also thinking like when you share that working with regional coordinators on that, I'm suddenly my mind goes up to the multi-region and also to the South India, like how we can do that. So thank you. Thanks for that that thought. And yes, we can definitely work on that. And Raoman, do you want to share your thoughts on that? Like, how can we bring more initiatives at the policy level, and as an NGO or practicing lawyer, how can we do more work?
So as I shared earlier that the initiative already we have taken that we can actually expand, like Grishman, we together were talking about the river conservation part. That is what we can do. And last time when we met in Sri Lanka, there we also got many ideas that with URI all together, we can take some initiative according to the ideas represented by the teams. And beside that, if in policy making, if we really want to work, then I will say that more assembly and come up with the policies and involve the government people in the programs or the assembly or the conferences, that would really help. Because when we want to work with the government, without government we cannot change anything, without the law we cannot change anything. And also the climate issue is not the issue of one country, it's the issue for the whole world. So we need more collaborations. I will suggest that to conduct assemblies or conferences that can unite the URI, whole URI, or connected other organizations, and also invite different government people who can come and join us and support in this. I think that can help in some way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Raoman, for bringing that, like how collaborations work, and especially like our own project, like we are working on River for Future project, and particularly focusing on river conservation, and also I'm also sharing the green skills and green jobs and how to involve this. So yeah, let's work together and let's make more collaborations and more powerful initiatives. So, and I also think that when we are collaborating with other organizations, that really getting more attention from people outside also. So that also reach to the people at the ground level and at the top. So yeah, let's work together. And moving to Christian, I would like to listen like how Religion for Peace and Youth Network initiating changes, and especially when we talk about Manresa Pact, we know like how you work with the Manresa local government and bringing up a new pact for people to initiate, like especially focusing on the urban level, like taking actions at the urban level. So, Christine, do you like to share that experience or your vision on how to work forward with the Manresa Pact? Yeah.
Yes, I may say one or two words on that. So the Manresa Pact was aimed to include the decision-making persons and the population to work together to face the challenges of climate in urban areas, but even also in rural areas. So when we came back from that conference in Manresa, so one of the initiatives was to invite some of the decision makers in our country as the Interfaith Youth Network, and to discuss with them on what could be feasible right now. So that it could not be sufficient just to stay in offices and to reflect on plans and to come to implement them on the behalf of the population. It could be also good to hear from the population what are their challenges, what are also their thought, what is their expertise. I think Lauren shared about the wisdom of autochthon population who have the wisdom of the living with nature, and they have some solution which are more practical than the others that we are bringing to destroy the environment. So to include those populations, to understand what they have as proposal to solve the issue is an important point, and we are working on that. Till now, we are in a project with some of the members of the government on contacting more and more peoples and indigenous people to try to listen what could be their contribution on how to face these challenges. We have also another platform here, the Interfaith Network for Rainforests, IRI, which is collaborating with religious leaders on raising awareness for them to mobilize the population on the need to establish this harmonious relationship with the environment. How we can drain food and other resources from the environment, but yet respecting the environment and enabling it to be safe and to also be kept for the next generations. So these are the different elements I may share on Manresa Pact, and also on initiatives that we are having to work with the government on this issue of environmental protection and environmental justice also. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine, for sharing the after work of Manresa, like how like what happened after Manresa. So thanks for sharing that, and also thank you so much for mentioning the IRI project, the Interfaith Rainforest Initiative. So Lauren, do you want to share more about it? And I also see Richie's comment. So after Lauren, we will come back to Richie. So
I just think that the Interfaith Rainforest Initiative has done a wonderful job of helping many of us think about ecosystem awareness and restoration in the places where we live. So even if you are not residing in a place where there is rainforest per se, you might benefit from going to the website and specifically looking at the toolkits, because those could be useful templates to create for ecosystem care and protection in the ecosystems that are your home. Really good stuff there. Thanks, Greshma.
thank you so much, Lauren, for mentioning that. So like sometimes when we hear some words, if that doesn't connect you, you don't look at that. So that happened to me. Like when I see the rainforest, I thought like, okay, this is something more connected to Latin America or Amazon. So yeah, so thank you so much for mentioning about the toolkit. We definitely explore it and see like what it mentions. So thank you so much for sharing that. Richie shared on the chat that he wants to thank all the panelists for sharing insightful content, and he would like to take from Lauren as she spoke about holding accountable the polluters. Human lives are at high risk with air pollution worsening in many parts of the world. If you look at the real-time data from the IQ Air Visual platform, we have to take historical action to bring pollution level to an historical low and set the standards for the future generations to eradicate pollution. Africa is truly impacted by air pollution, with life expectancy reaching below 54. Our team lead research in DRC hospitals to assess the impact of air pollution. We came to a conclusion that at least 15% of the youth who passed away in 2022 died due to pulmonary disease and heart diseases. less than 5% have history with dealing with alcohol, cigarettes, and others. So at least 10% of the death recorded due to pulmonary disease and head disease might be linked to poor air quality. The numbers are even higher in the elderly group. Yes, these numbers are really alarming, and this is something also happening in India also, like especially cities like Delhi, we are always seeing the issues of air pollution. So yes, we really need to take all these issues as seriously and educate, and not just educate but also influence people to take steps and reduce the carbon footprints and associate reasons, and encourage them to use like public transportation, like doing all the possible things what we can do. I know it's still a small actions, but still it works. So yes, we need to take actions. And any other thoughts, any other questions? This is a dialogue, so please share your thoughts and comments, and please feel free to share your thoughts. This is a very safe place, and EcoPeace means safe, safety. So please take a chance to share your thoughts with us and ask questions to our panelists. And also, I would like to bring the focus on to war and environment. So currently, we are going through uh, like a violent conflict between Palestine, like Israel-Hamas conflict is going on, and also other side we have the Russia-Ukraine issues and lots of civil wars, like lots of conflicts are happening all over the world. So this also affect environment very badly. And so the structure, like environmental peace building, is also getting more highlights. So how do you see like how these wars influence our initiatives, or how this influence the climate justice? So who wants to go first? Lauren, maybe we can start with you.
Unless Raoman wants to begin, I'm happy to. I am remembering so vividly an incredible infographic in Kigali, Rwanda, when I was visiting there, that specifically detailed how hate speech creates social unrest and instability, which then creates, the sort of conflict that we're seeing now. And this infographic did a remarkable job of explaining how the climate crisis is the next genocide. That if we are not careful, as communities are facing food insecurity, water scarcity, that sort of thing, that then the hoarding, we deserve this more than you do, or this is ours and you can't have any, the hate speech starts, and then we really start seeing harm happening. Now, Israel and Palestine is a story that is not connected to the climate crisis per se, but it is useful for all of us as peacemakers, as peace builders, to note that the things that are happening around the world right now that are feeding economic sustainability and are creating stress in every community, they are a stone's throw from making people behave very badly if they are more connected to fear than love. And I think that that's why the conversations, the projects that Raoman, that Christian, that Greshma, that we are all talking about are so important, because they're opportunities to stand for love. They're opportunities to address prejudices, biases, and to address even trauma through healing acts such as gardening together. So I don't want to oversimplify anything. I don't think that Gaza will be more peaceful because of community gardening tomorrow. It's going to be a bigger effort. But we do know that there are beautiful examples of Jewish, Muslim co-participation in restoring olive groves and things like that on those lands. So we know that this can happen. We know that this is alive and well in parts of the world. And so we want to continue to feed those ideas. And then we also want to look at trauma healing and ways that we can start to address the fear and the scarcity that certainly do live within the human system, and start to feed instead a sense of love and care and responding peacefully toward one another. It's very difficult, but I know that there are really great examples of it working.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Lauren, for sharing that. And like when you share, like I'm also thinking that there is another species from URI. It's also called EcoPeace Middle East. They are also doing some amazing work on water cooperation and water diplomacy. So with Israel and Palestine, I think. So yeah, so there are like lots of examples are there. And so I think like during this crisis time, we also have to feature such stories. Like we have to go and take those stories and share with the world, because like before this meeting, I had another meeting and we were sharing like how my social media looks like, because for me, it's like a peace builders community. So when I open social media, like all the peace builders are really stressed out and sharing the like the messages from the war field. So sometimes it's really affecting all of us, like by seeing all the pictures and all the videos. So so these moments are also for us peace building communities to reflect back on and see the positive messages and see like where are the reunions are happening, like where are the cooperations are happening, and sharing the stories also to bring that peace back and justice back. So Raoman, do you like to share how the concept of war and environment, and how do you see the current situation?
Yes, actually, from my point of view, I'm really worried about war. Every day, I'm just watching the news that many children and women are dying in Palestine, and I'm a Muslim, so on that background, and after studying the history about Israel and Palestine, the reason for war, I definitely find that the solution is if they get the freedom. I mean, both the countries, they get their own freedom, they have their own countries, and they live peacefully. Though I do not think that that is possible. If it would, then it could happen many years back. We did not to observe this at the moment. So it's like deep sorrow inside, or worried about the future, and also it's like all the saddened things. We are also suffering, like we are not facing it, but seeing people dying, whoever it is, like it can be Jews or Muslim or Christian, whoever it is. It's like we do not want to see death anymore. So we want peace. We just pray to Almighty that He may bring some solution for this. People get their humanity back. They think about the children, the woman, because all the time they are the most sufferer, the general public. And in this century, when we are talking about artificial intelligence and people are going to Mars, I mean, planning to going to Mars, and that time we are fighting, and also this climate change. We have big issues in the world, and I do not know, I do not understand why they are fighting, why the powerful countries, why they cannot sit and talk when they are educated, when they have the resources. Still they are not talking and sitting. I mean, that can be solved by talking, right? By sitting all together and find a solution. So I believe there is the solution. We all know the solution, but the main thing is that if they have the intention of the solution or not, or if they just want to do the business out of this war, or who are getting the benefit out of this war. We, the general public, should now raise our voice, but we are also unsure that if we can really do that. Because last time I want to share one of my experience when I shared some thoughts regarding this war on my Facebook. I have seen that my profile became very slow, and also the owner of many social medias, they directly declared that if anybody take part of any particular country, they are going to ban them, they are going to stop their use of their social media or attack in virtually. So you see, I feel that we do not have the freedom of voice even. So I do not know what is the solution at the moment, like what we can do. We're just praying. That is what we can do. That's all for this war. Thank you.
Thanks, Raoman. That's so deep, and also like when we share about this war particularly, and also about social media, I heard like many people share the same, like when they shared about like even they are taking stand and share that in the social media, their profiles are getting like slow and the views are really less compared to other posts. So this happens, and this also like ask us to reflect on our freedom of expression. Wherever we are, we really have that freedom of expression and freedom of sharing our voice? So thanks for highlighting that. And Christine, do you like to share your thoughts on that? Yes.
Yes, please. Thank you. So this issue of environmental crisis that could lead to conflicts between populations is already a reality in my country. So the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo has been in the grip of conflict for more than 20 years. And more than 10 million people have lost their lives in an indescribable atrocity. Curiously, very little attention is paid to what is happening in my country. So the cause of this war is quite simple: access to natural resources. Because of natural resources, people are ready to create a war to kill people so they can have access to that. And in the northeast part of my country, we have herders who are fleeing their country attacked by drought in search of pasture for their herds. And they are coming with weapons, and they chase people from their lands. And so that is a reality. And that's why I was saying in my introduction, unfortunately, the connection didn't allow me to develop logically my thought. That's why I was saying that we need to act with having in mind the consequence of what our acts could have on other people's with whom maybe we may not be related, or we may not have a close relationship. That's why we need to think about justice in a way that it's something that is prominent to establish peace in the world. So there are many reasons to conflicts around the world. The only way to solve it, as I said it, is to be conscious of this interdependence of human beings around the world. And the only way to express this interdependence is through relationships of justice. And that will help us to build sustainable society. Thank you.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks for sharing your experience and also sharing like how war affected in DR Congo. So so the first time I heard about your country is during my 5th grade, like while I was in my school. I was learning about the issues happening in the DR Congo and the natural resources in DR Congo. So wherever you have the resources, there is a potential threat and there is an exploitation over the resources, and that really affects all the human lives. So thank you for sharing that, and also it helps us to reflect on like how these wars are continuing, and also that didn't get enough attention to resolve the conflicts also. So we have to mindful about all the living beings, and when we talk about the climate justice, it's justice of all, justice for all, and all the social and equalities we have to establish and we have to be placed. So thank you for sharing, and it's time to close now. And so I would like to thank everyone, and from the UKIYN EcoPeace Cafe team, it was a wonderful session and we had a wonderful time together. So
deep gratitude to you all for the earth restoration work you are doing. And as peace builders, I salute you and send you forward with good blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lauren, for your time and for staying with us. Thank you. And Raoman?
Right, I just want to say that let's walk side by side together. Let's build a better world together. Together we can bring changes, and we need positive changes a lot. Let's just stay together, stick together, and be positive. Thank you, Greshma, and thank you all the team members who are behind this program.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Thanks once again, and wishing you all the success, and we need you like in all the strong works, and hope we can meet at COP28 so very soon. So thank you so much once again, Raoman. And Christian, do you like to share the closing remarks?
Yes, thank you very much. So I will just close with these few words. Humanity's existence is governed not only by physical forces, but also by social and moral laws of cause and effect. Greed is inherently corrosive to the common good, no matter how artfully justified or concealed. Acts of selfless compassion invariably hold the power to motivate and inspire, no matter how seemingly simple or isolated. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be in this panel, dear Grishma.
Thank you. Thanks, Christine, for sharing all the information and sharing about your country and your experiences. So thank you so much. And we really look forward to working with you all and collaborating with you all for the future programs, and I hope we can make this world a better place, better, safe and inclusive and sustainable world. And I know like how struggling these days are, but we shall overcome all the issues. So thank you once again from RFP UK and UKIYN EcoPeace Cafe program. And we have a series of sessions coming up in November that will be like more on mentorship, community building and reflective practices. So please join us on November and explore your personal and professional development. So thank you so much. Thank you once again to all the panelists. We are really grateful for your time and your wisdom. Thank you. And Eda, do you like to share?
On our YouTube channel, so you will find the link for our social media in the chat, as well as if you'd like to hear first about our upcoming events, like Greshma mentioned, we're gonna have a full eventful November coming up. Please feel free to subscribe to our link that is in the chat, so we can make sure you hear it first. Thank you so much to our panelists for all your wisdom, for all of your experiences. Even I believe it was hard for you to share, but thank you for sharing. We appreciate it so much. Also our participants, we appreciated a lot your sharings. We are here to learn from each other. We are here to support each other. A better world will be created with togetherness.